Watch in the lobby, Senator Sanders. Dat is leuk. Ik heb hier zin in. Toelaten. Zo dan, welkom bij Radio BOOS, een wekelijkse scherpe blik op media, politiek en maatschappij, waarin we de onderbuik inruilen voor de feiten, met uiteraard ruimte om te lachen. Met deze week, we gaan in gesprek met onze eerste Amerikaanse gast, namelijk Bernie Sanders.
Why are we in the United States the only major country not to guarantee health care to all as a human right?
Ja, je hoorde Bernie Sanders tijdens een speech in Brooklyn, New York, tijdens zijn Tegen de Oligarchie tour. Want vandaag hebben we dus een internationale gast bij BOOS. En dat is dus deze man, Bernie Sanders. 84 jaar oud, is senator van de Amerikaanse staat Vermont en was 2 keer in de running voor de nominatie van presidentskandidaat bij de Democraten. Nu is hij onafhankelijk politicus, een zogeheten independent. En op dit moment doet hij een tournee voor zijn nieuwste boek. De Nederlandse vertaling is ook uit en dat heet Tegen de Oligarchie. Zijn boodschap: een handjevol miljardairs heeft de economie, de politiek en de media gekaapt. En gewone mensen betalen de prijs. Zo ook onder de regering Trump. En daar moeten we volgens hem wat tegen doen. Sanders bespreekt in zijn boek de tekortkomingen van de Democratische Partij en haalt historische bewegingen aan, zoals de Amerikaanse revolutie en ook de vakbondsstrijd als voorbeeld voor ons nu. Leuk om misschien even te melden is dat ik Sanders overigens 1 keer eerder heb getroffen. Dat was in de Bali tijdens een gesprek. Dat was heel leuk. Dat klonk zo.
How do you stay the outsider with the fresh ideas? As someone who's in politics for so long in the most wealthy and powerful country in the world.
That's a good question, and I don't know that it's as my wife will tell you, in all the years that I have been in the Congress, and I was in the House of Representatives for 16 years, and I'm completing my 3rd term, 18 years in the Senate. I have never spent one weekend in Washington, D.C., except once I was sick and couldn't leave. Okay, I am never there. It is not my culture.
En deze week treffen we hem dus weer, nu voor Radio BOOS. We voeren het gesprek online. Met de datum is nog veel geschoven. Er was wat gedoe vanwege tijdverschil. Maar uiteindelijk is het gelukt. We kunnen Sanders spreken. En dat willen we graag. Want wat zijn nou precies zijn ideeën? Wat schrijft hij in zo'n boek? Hoe kijkt hij naar de banden tussen Amerika en Europa? En hoe moeten we ons verzetten tegen die oligarchie waar hij zo tegen ageert? We gaan in gesprek. Maar eerst nog even dit. Even wat administratie. Zit je te luisteren, of dan nou op YouTube is, op Spotify of op Apple Music. Geef even 5 sterren. Abonneer, is gratis, kost €0. Heb je iedere week een podcast in je broekzak. En dan ben je altijd geïnformeerd. En dan nu, Bernie Sanders. In deze podcast hoor je ook de begeleidende stem van researcher Emma van den Berg. En misschien ken je haar stem nog van de podcastreeks This Was The Voice. En zij praat deze aflevering aan elkaar.
Vanwege het tijdsverschil spreken we Sanders pas om 9 uur 's avonds, Nederlandse tijd. We blijven met een aantal mensen van het BOOS-team achter op kantoor om de boel klaar te zetten. Daarna is het wachten tot Sanders in de digitale lobby verschijnt. Het gesprek vindt plaats via een videoverbinding.
Daar gaan we. Watch in the lobby, Senator Sanders. Dat is leuk. Ik heb hier zin in. Toelaten. Dankjewel. Hi. I can hear you okay. Can you hear me okay? That's great. I'll wait here. Voor de luisteraar die het niet kan zien. Ik wacht nu op de heer Sanders. Zijn team heeft ons net gekoppeld aan elkaar.
En dan is hij daar, met een Amerikaanse vlag op de achtergrond. Bernie Sanders.
Daar is hij. Mr. Sanders.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Nice. So nice to have you in our podcast.
Good to be with you.
Where are you at the moment?
I'm in Burlington, Vermont.
Oh, really? I'm in Hilversum. That's in Holland, but you're probably not familiar with that small city.
Zoals Tim al eerder vertelde in deze podcast, schreef Sanders dus een boek. Dat heet Tegen de Oligarchie. En dus beginnen we daar. Want waarom moest dit boek er komen?
We got like 30 minutes, so let's start off with some administration. I've got this book, your new book, right here, and I was wondering why was this so important? This message to the world.
Well, Tim, in my view, in the United States and all over the world, what we are seeing is a very small number of multi-billionaires significantly increasing their wealth and their power, economically and politically. And it's an issue that I think we have got to begin to address.
Yeah, what's the danger about these oligarchs?
All right, let me give you an example. And obviously, I'm more familiar with what's happening in the United States than around the rest of the world. But it's happening all over the world. Here in the United States, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of America. Okay?
Yeah.
Listen to this. In America today, the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%.
Yeah.
One man, Elon Musk, you're familiar with Mr. Musk?
We are, yeah.
All right. Owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. What do you think about that?
Let me ask you, what do you think about that?
I think
Describe it
it's
in
an
one word for
outrage.
me.
I think it's absurd. I think what we are striving for as a nation here in America and all over the world is an economy that works for everybody, not just the 1%. But it is not only income and wealth inequality, okay? What you are talking about is control over the media, what people see, hear, and read. You know who owns Twitter, X? It's Mr. Musk. You know who owns Meta? That's Mr. Zuckerberg. You know who owns Twitch? That's Mr. Bezos. Mr. Ellison owns now major American TV networks. So these guys not only have enormous income and wealth, they now control to a large degree what people see, hear, and read. But that's not all. In America, we have a very corrupt campaign finance system, very different than in Europe. In America, if you are a billionaire, you can establish what is called a super PAC, okay? And you know what you could do with that super PAC? You could put as much money as you want to elect candidates who you support, who will work for you.
Yeah.
Sanders deed ooit mee aan de race om kandidaat te worden voor de Democratische Partij.
This morning, Senator Bernie Sanders is throwing his hat into the presidential ring once again.
Hij verloor die race van Hillary Clinton.
With your help, we are going to transform this country.
Inmiddels is hij senator voor Vermont, als onafhankelijk politicus. In zijn boek spaart Sanders de Democratische Partij niet. Zo schrijft hij: de oligarchen hebben ook enorme macht over de Democratische Partij. En hij schrijft ook: laten we proberen te begrijpen wat de leiding van de Democratische Partij niet wil begrijpen. Er heerst momenteel enorm veel leed in de Verenigde Staten. Er heerst woede, er heerst frustratie, er heerst angst, er heerst teleurstelling. Wij willen meer weten over de banden tussen de Democratische Partij en de oligarchen, over de schuldvraag en of de Democratische Partij nog wel de juiste plek is voor links-progressieven.
I find it interesting when we talk about the oligarchs. In your book you write, oligarchs have enormous power also over the Democratic Party as well. While outspent by Republican billionaires, over 80 Democratic billionaires donated hundreds of millions trying to elect Kamala Harris. And you say she lost the campaign because of that, because they were not here for the working people, but for their own
well, what I meant by
wealth. So tell me, how deeply have the oligarchs infiltrated in the Democratic Party?
They've been there for a long time. It's not infiltrate. That's what the American political system is about. Both political parties are heavily impacted by billionaires. Right now, Republicans a lot more. Elon Musk spent $270 million to get Trump elected, okay?
Yeah.
One guy. But billionaires also play into the Democratic Party. And what I meant by that is when you are dependent upon billionaire financial support, your emphasis is not going to be on the needs of the working class of this country.
Yeah.
And I think Kamala's campaign did not generate the kind of excitement that was needed, and many working class people ended up voting for Trump because they did not see in her a significant alternative to the status quo.
But you could say then your system is corrupted by big money. Is that the right way to phrase it?
It's exactly the right way to phrase it.
What's the solution for that? Specific this part of the influence of oligarchs.
In this particular case, about 15 years ago, there was a disastrous Supreme Court decision in a case called Citizens United, okay? And what happened is the billionaires came in and they said, look, in the United States, we have a constitution, and the Constitution assures us freedom of speech, right? We can say anything we want. Well, we want the freedom to be able to spend as much money as we would like on campaigns. And on a 5-4 decision, a conservative Supreme Court said, okay, you can do that. And out of that came a campaign finance system which allows billionaires to spend unlimited amounts of money, which has had an horrendous impact on American politics. Right now, if you run for office and you're representing the working class, the likelihood is you'll have somebody against you who will have all kinds of money from the very rich. And it's going to be harder and harder to win elections. You ask me what the answer is. The answer is we got to get rid of this terrible Supreme Court decision, something that we are working on. We got to limit, not different than what Europe, I don't know what goes on in Holland, but
it's different.
Can billionaires spend as much money as they want to elect a government?
No, it's different. It's way different.
Right.
And we have less billionaires also.
Right.
We have John de Mol, but we're not sure
But
what his
most
expenses
European
are.
countries just do not allow big money to buy elections.
And what amount of money are we talking about then? What should be the right amount of money you can donate to a political party?
Well, I believe in public funding of elections, similar to what goes on in a number of European countries. And
Yeah.
I won't go through all of the details, but what's going on right now, the idea that if I'm running for re-election, some billionaire could spend $100 million to defeat me, that's insane.
Yeah. Have they ever tried to win you over with big money?
No.
No.
I think I'm a lost cause for them. No, I've been doing this. I've been doing
Why
this.
is that? Why are you a lost cause?
Well,
What would
I've
you
been-
say to them, or what did you say to them?
I don't have to say anything. They know where I'm coming from. But right now,
Okay.
what the struggle that we are engaged in is not only dealing with the present, we worry very much about the future. And by the way, it's something that Europe should worry about as well.
Yeah, we are.
AI and robotics. You're familiar with artificial intelligence and robotics. I hope that the people in Europe know who is pushing these very transformational technologies, revolutionary technologies, and that is
Yeah.
people like the same group of people, Mr. Musk,
Yeah.
Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Bezos, Mr. Ellison. They are investing trillions of dollars into data centers and to research and development. Bezos, for example, recently announced that he's looking to raise $100 billion to automate factories. Do you know what that means? What that means, they're going to wipe out all blue-collar, what we call blue-collar
The
jobs.
blue-collar worker. Yeah.
There are not going to be any more manufacturing jobs. There are not going to be any more warehouse jobs. Young people with a college degree in America, I don't know about Europe, finding it harder and harder to get entry-level jobs because those jobs are being taken away by AI. So you are looking at a massive economic transformation where AI and robotics are going to replace, over a period of years, tens of millions of jobs, and nobody quite knows what happens to those workers who can't find a job.
We'll get to Europe later, but I was wondering about the Democratic Party. To get back to that, if someone's progressive or left-oriented in the United States, are the Democrats still the right party for them?
Well, we are, again, as I think most Europeans know, our political system is different than Europe. You have, by and large,
Yeah. It's mostly a
parliamentary
two-party
forms.
system.
Right. We have two parties. The choice is right now, the Republican Party has become, sadly, it used to be a conservative party.
Yeah.
Right now, it is moving toward right-wing extremism and the cult of the individual. If Donald Trump says dance, they dance. And there's some, but very little dissent within the Republican Party. Trump runs it very strongly. Now, the Democratic Party, I'm an independent. I caucus with the Democrats. Right now, within the Democratic Party, there is a big division.
Yeah.
We have the
Tell me about that.
All right. We have the establishment Democrats who want to continue doing what they've done in the past, rely on big money to fund their campaigns.
That's more the right wing of the party, like the more right.
I wouldn't call it right wing. They're not right wing. I would call it, in the American terms, we call it centrist. Okay.
Yeah, in European terms, I guess it's right.
Okay, could be. It means that it is pro-corporate. It will say nice things about working people, but not really deliver.
Yeah.
And it's dependent for its funding on a lot of wealthy individuals and special interest. That's one group of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I am part of a progressive wing, which is making some significant inroads. We recently had success in electing Zohran Mamdani as mayor of New York City. We have a number of members, younger people, often people of color, often women who are in the U.S. House of Representatives. And we're building a strong grassroots movement all over the country. So, we are coming forward with a pro-working class agenda, which, by the way, the Europeans will not sound all that radical. In terms,
I'll come to that later. I wrote that down. It's not that radical.
No, it is not.
We'll come to that later, yeah.
But for American politics, it is fairly radical. And our job is to involve young people, people of color, working class people in a movement which takes on the oligarchs and creates an economy that works for everybody, not just a few.
So the answer is yes, as someone progressive and left-oriented, the Democratic Party can still be your party.
Look, the alternative that we have, there's a party here called, you're obviously familiar with the Green parties throughout Europe. We have a Green Party in the United States, which has been much less successful than Green parties throughout Europe. At this moment, I run as an independent. I have run against Democrats and Republicans. But I think where we are at this very dangerous moment in American history, with Trump pushing a very authoritarian agenda, I think our goal must be to reform the Democratic Party.
Yeah, so that's the first goal. And then after that, maybe the left-oriented people can come back to the Democratic Party. Is that mainly the goal, to get the left people to the party?
The Democrats have lost over the years many working class people because, in my view, the Democrats haven't delivered for them. It will shock many Europeans to know that in America we have almost, a quarter of our population either has no health insurance at all or bad health insurance. They can't afford to go to a doctor.
That's unimaginable for us over here. We're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. I mean, so saying that everybody should go to a doctor, be able to go to a doctor in Europe is kind of a no-brainer. But here it's
quite radical in your country.
Idea. Okay? We have a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, which is insane. We have many of our kids, I don't know about Holland, but if you want to go to a good university in America and you're working class, you can leave school a couple of $100,000 in debt because the cost of education is so high.
We couldn't imagine that.
Right.
You sound like you're European by heart, like you're a bodied American, but you sound like a European when you speak out your ideas.
Well, see, one of the problems we have with the media as well in America is many Americans think that they're told by the corporate media that the ideas of healthcare for all is far left. Far left. You got it?
Yeah.
In Europe, conservative parties believe that everybody has a right to healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Nobody would argue with that. It's been there for decades. But that's what we're up against here in the United States. Much of what we're fighting for, not all, we want to go further in some respects, Europe has achieved decades ago.
Ja, Sanders is helder. De Democraten zijn te ver van de werkende klasse afgedwaald. Geld regeert de politiek. En daar moet een einde aan komen. Op de lijnen met Europa komen we later nog even, maar eerst even iets anders. Namelijk de rol van vermogende influencers. Want die spelen een actieve rol in dienst van sommige tech-oligarchen en bepaalde politici. Denk hierbij bijvoorbeeld aan podcastmaker Joe Rogan, en de invloed op de campagne van Donald Trump.
Defund the police, get rid of the police. You know, even Kamala Harris was a part of that. It's a very stupid way to look at it. What you should do is fund the police. You should have better training. You should have cops that feel more appreciated. You should have something that helps mitigate this PTSD that all of them suffer through.
Right. She was a big part of defund the police. That was a big thing for her. Defund the police. Always defund the police.
Well, it's a political idea,
but
right?
Anybody with that political thought,
Yeah.
I don't think should be running for president. And I think people are getting wise to it.
Over Rogan wordt inmiddels gezegd dat de spotlight die hij Trump gaf tijdens de verkiezingen doorslaggevend is geweest. Zo lezen we in The Times: How Joe Rogan helped Donald Trump to win America. Sanders was zelf trouwens ook ooit te gast bij Joe Rogan. Dat was in de tijd dat Rogan juist nog voor Sanders zijn steun uitsprak. En dat klonk zo.
If you got into the office and you found out something about aliens, if you found out something about UFOs, would you let us know?
Well, I'll tell you, my wife would demand that I let you know.
Is your wife a UFO nut?
No, she's not a UFO. No, it's just, Bernie, what is going on? Do you have any access to the records?
You don't have any access?
I don't. Honestly,
No?
I don't know.
Okay. You'll let us know, though?
All right, I'll be on the show. We'll announce it on the show. How's
Please.
that? All right,
Please
you got
do.
it, Joe. All
Thank
right.
you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Joe, thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Naast Rogan kun je ook denken aan influencer Jake Paul, tevens een uitgesproken supporter van Trump, die zich ook tijdens een rally naast hem voegde. Hij liet zich meermaals negatief uit over transpersonen en migranten en ook heeft Paul connecties met de oligarchie en maakte hij in aanloop naar de afgelopen verkiezingen een video waarin hij zijn support uitsprak voor Trump.
And if you really cared about women and their opportunities and their lives, I think it would be better to have a president that doesn't want biological men competing in women's sports. I would also argue that Donald Trump is protecting women by not letting 15 million illegal immigrants through the borders.
Vanwege de connecties met Trump en figuren als Elon Musk is een link met de politieke oligarchie duidelijk. De influencers verkondigen hun steun aan de oligarchen en hun politieke boodschap op kanalen met een enorme hoeveelheid volgers. Maar dit is niet terug te vinden in het boek van Sanders. Sterker nog, er wordt niets over gezegd. Maar wij hebben wel wat vragen. Bijvoorbeeld, hoe kijkt Sanders naar de rol van deze influencers en hun gebruik van hun platform om een politieke agenda te verspreiden?
About the book, one thing what's not in the book is more like the influencer propaganda machine for the oligarchs, people like Joe Rogan or Jake Paul. What's your view on men like these that quite use the manosphere to support Trump and roll out their political agenda?
Yeah, we're seeing, look, the media landscape has changed radically. Young people don't watch mainstream television very much anymore, and they listen to podcasts. Most, but not all, of the podcasts are right-wing. And Rogan, by the way, is by far not the worst of what's out there. I've been on Rogan's show a couple of times. He has, for example, been critical of Trump.
But he was an openly Trump supporter. People say that if he didn't do that, Trump might not have won.
Well,
so he played out his role. He did.
He did. But 2016, he supported me for president.
But but
All right,
last
so
time
look,
he didn't.
the answer is yes. We have many podcasters. Most of the ones with influence are right wing, and that's true.
Yeah. So, but in the chain of influence, where do you see people like Jake Paul, who openly supports Trump? He rallied a couple of weeks ago with him, and in Europe we could probably say he's a supporter of people with a fascist agenda. Actually, what's your view on people like him?
It's a frightening. I mean, right now, one of the issues, and it is tied into oligarchy. Authoritarianism is a twin brother of oligarchy. They go together. But under Trump, we are seeing a president who does not believe in our Constitution, does not believe in the rule of law, who lies all the time, who is a narcissist. And some of the people who have been attracted to him are anti-Semites, fascists, racists, absolutely, positively.
Yeah. And my question is, the role of these influencers, are they important to the oligarchs? Do they help them?
Yes, they are. They get working class, what authoritarianism is about, and God knows
Europe has had its history of that and is having it today. It's not just an American phenomenon.
Yeah.
If you're an oligarch, what you want to do is deflect attention from the economic crises facing working class families. All right? Again, I'm familiar with America, not so much Europe. In America, stay with me on this one, Tim. Real inflation accounted for wages have barely increased over the last 50 years, while the very richest people have become phenomenally richer.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Everything being equal, our younger generation today will have a lower standard of living than their parents. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that the oligarchs want to talk about? No, they don't.
No. And that's why my question is about people like Joe Rogan and Jake Paul and guys like that.
All right.
They use them for their narratives.
Yes, that's right. So what they do,
as it seems.
What do demagogues do? What is the essence of demagoguery? And God knows, I mean, Hitler becomes the essence of that. You're familiar with that in European history. What you do is you take a powerless minority. In the 30s, it was the Jews, etc. In America, we've had blacks and gay people, blah, blah, blah. You take a powerless minority, now primarily undocumented immigrants in the United States, and you say to the people, these are the people, you're supposed to hate these people. They are the cause of all of your problems. Hate them, hate them, hate them. Oh, by the way, forget about the fact that the rich get richer, you don't have a decent paying job. Don't worry about that. Your job is to hate this group or that group. And that is the role that many of these right-wing podcasters play. They foment hatred and deflect attention away from the basic economic realities facing working families.
Do you see them as oligarch puppets?
Do I see them as, whether they know it or not, yes, of course they're working for the oligarchs.
Have you ever told Joe Rogan that? Or would you?
Again, you're mentioning Joe Rogan. Let me tell you, in American politics, Joe Rogan is far, far from the worst. I've been on Rogan's program a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we have a very civil discussion. We disagree on this or that. There are a lot worse than Joe Rogan.
Okay. You seem like beholding a bit when it comes to talking about these men. Am I right?
I'm dealing with other things right now. We're dealing, right now, my main concern.
Yeah, to us, it's interesting. Like who are the people that are the propaganda puppets for these rich oligarchs? And from a distance, it seems like they are. But
they are. They are. Whether they know it or not, they think, they hate undocumented people.
Yeah.
Does Mr. Musk have, that's the line that comes down.
Yeah.
In my view, it is an effort to deflect attention from the fact that the very rich are getting richer while working people are struggling. But it's not just the podcasters. What we're seeing now is people like Larry Ellison. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Which is a
Palantir
whole other
guy. Yeah.
He's now bought up CBS, which is a major American network. Very important.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Will probably end up owning CNN as well. So it's not just the podcasters, it's traditional media as well.
Aren't you fucking frightened when you tell me this? Like, they're buying up the news stations, the rich guys. Also, the more like center-left wing news stations.
Look, America, we are in the midst, we work very, very hard right now. We're building a movement to counteract it. It's not just Americans who should be frightened. The United States is the most powerful nation on earth. We have a mentally unstable man who is president, who is a pathological liar, who is an oligarch, who is a demagogue. Is that frightening? Of course it's frightening. But by the way, I mean, let's be clear.
Yeah.
It is not just America that is facing an onslaught of right-wing extremism. And when you want to see the tie-in between authoritarianism and oligarchy, our friend Mr. Musk, the richest guy on earth, putting a lot of money into right-wing extremist parties in Europe, correct?
In Europe, yeah, we're familiar with that. Absolutely. And we're familiar, Geert Wilders and Thierry Baudet, the right-wingers in our country, we're quite familiar with that.
Ja, veel lijkt Sanders niet kwijt te willen over de influencers. Joe Rogan noemt hij not the worst. En op Jake Paul gaat hij nauwelijks in. Pas na flink doorvragen krijgen we een antwoord zonder dat er namen worden genoemd. En we vragen niet voor niets zoveel door. We vinden het namelijk belangrijk omdat Trump een deel van zijn campagne voerde via deze influencers. Hij bereikt veel mensen die naar hem willen luisteren. En daarom willen we weten, waarom laat hij juist dit achterwege? Dan door naar de relatie tussen de Verenigde Staten en Europa. Over die relatie zei Sanders publiekelijk eerder het volgende. En dat ging over Trumps verstandshouding met Poetin.
Trump is showing us that he sees one of the world's most brutal dictators as his friend, and our longtime democratic allies in Europe as his enemies. He wants a world that is safe for authoritarians and oligarchs, but extremely dangerous for democracies.
Ja, hoe kijkt hij hier nu naar?
Speaking of Europe, I was thinking, do you think it makes sense for Europe to keep the USA close? I mean, like you say, it's the most powerful country ruled by an unstable guy. What's in it for Europe?
Well, I think what's in it, it's not a question of Europe or the United States or Latin America or Asia. The struggle that we have right now all over the world, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence and robotics, how do we create a global economy that works for all people? How do we make sure that we create vibrant democracies in Europe and in America? How do we make sure that we have freedom of speech and a diverse media? How do we protect the entire planet from climate change? So I think, we have to move toward a global economy in a sense. We have to work together globally to make sure that countries around the world can enjoy a decent and democratic form of life.
But in this stage, we see Trump continuously bullying Europe. Is that maybe the right word?
Yes, that is the right word. But I want you to know, be clear about this. Most Americans, the vast majority, do not agree with Trump. Trump lives in his world. He attacks everybody every day, and Europe is just another group that he has attacked. Most Americans, the vast majority of Americans, want to see the United States have a strong and stable relationship with Europe. God knows we have gone through a lot together. Most Americans, my father came from Poland. Most Americans, many Americans' families came from Europe. People have families in Europe. We do not want to see, Trump believes in division, trying to divide everybody up. That is not where most Americans are. We want a strong and positive relationship with our friends in Europe.
Would you, when it comes to oligarchs and their tech influence, would you rather see Europe have their own tech industry than using the American tech industry? Wouldn't that be more stable for us and maybe for you too?
I think I worry very much about the concentration of ownership. As you know, you've got 4 or 5 massive companies, Zuckerberg's company and Microsoft and Musk and Altman. And I think more diversity would be of help. But the issue here is the issue when you deal with AI. To be honest with you, nobody knows what's going to happen. But there are very smart people out there who say AI and robotics will lead to massive job loss in America, in Europe. AI and robotics will lead to a terrible invasion of our privacy. We are not far away where people will be able to know every phone call that you made, every email that you sent, every text that you sent, every website that you visited. A real invasion of privacy. In America, at least, I don't know how it is in Europe. There is a real concern that a lot of young people, and we have some mental health crises with young people in our country, have developed companions, AI companions. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. They get their emotional support from artificial intelligence, something that I consider to be very dangerous. And let me tell you maybe what is the most frightening thing of all. I talk to some people who know a lot about AI, Nobel Prize winners in physics, people who have helped develop the industry. They've worked in it for decades. You know what they're saying? They're saying that it is not a question of whether, it is a question of when AI will become smarter than human beings. Okay? And when that happens, there may be a situation, nobody knows for sure, where AI will say to humanity, sorry, we don't want to be controlled by you anymore, with cataclysmic dangers. You follow what I'm saying?
I do. I'm all ears. Tell me.
All right, so what they're saying, what these guys are saying, Nobel Prize winners, is AI may, no one's pose an enormous threat to the very existence of humanity.
But that is when you say all these things about your democracy, about oligarchs taking over, about AI, which is owned by oligarchs taking over, you write in your book, we are living in unprecedented times. We have to respond in unprecedented ways and with an unprecedented sense of urgency. I can follow that. And then the solutions in your book are strengthening democracy, Medicare for all, expanding social security, and so on. And as you said, for Americans, that may seem radical. For maybe Western Europeans, it's like the bare minimum. And I should say your democracy is under pressure. For that, maybe ours is. The oligarchs are winning. Ordinary citizens are losing out. Fascism is on the march. Are these solutions you offer your reader radical enough? Don't we need
Well, look,
more?
what we're trying to do in America is build, I mean, look, I can throw it back to you. What is Europe doing?
Yeah.
You're losing ground as well. It's tough stuff. Bottom line is the working class people are hurting. The governments in France, Germany, England have not responded effectively to the needs of working class people in all of those countries, the growth in right-wing movements, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so it's not just an American issue. We're struggling with this all over the world. And right now, here in America, what we are trying to do is rebuild the trade union movement, bring workers together with young people, people of color, build a movement that will be effective in taking on the oligarchs. Is it easy? No, it is not. But that is what we're trying to do. And with that, maybe one more question.
Ja, we hebben een strak tijdslot voor dit gesprek en dus is het tijd voor de laatste vraag. Hoe kijkt Sanders aan tegen expropriation, het onteigenen van miljardairs? Dit past bij het idee van limitarisme. Het idee dat er een morele en economische bovengrens is aan wat één persoon zou mogen bezitten. Met als doel het verkleinen van de kloof tussen rijk en arm en zo voorkomen dat miljardairs hun buitensporige rijkdom gebruiken om democratische processen of beleid te kunnen beïnvloeden.
Is it time for maybe expropriation?
Let me stay where we are right now.
Or tech oligarchs.
Right now, where we are is doing what I've said we're doing. So, look, let me conclude just by saying this, Tim. We look forward to working with our brothers and sisters throughout the world in Europe. The American people want a positive relationship with Europe. Don't listen to what Trump is saying. We respect Europe. We want to work with Europe. We don't want to break off relations.
Het zit erop. Het gesprek wordt door Sanders afgesloten met een grote glimlach.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Okay.
Have a great run.
Thank you
See you
very
later.
much. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Dat was de laatste vraag. Ik vond het fascinerend. Ik geef gelijk even een klein verslag van dit gesprek. Mr. Sanders, toch misschien in het Amerikaanse speelveld, wordt toch wel gezien als een van de meest radicale linkse, sociaal-democratische politici. Ik denk dat hij dat daar ook is. Wat ik fascinerend vind is als ik een klein beetje raak aan dat patriotisme van hem, dat hij zegt, ja, maar in Europa gaat het ook fout. Of als ik begin over expropriation, voor de luisteraar, dat gaat over het onteigenen bijvoorbeeld. Een heel radicaal idee van miljardairs, van de techbro's. Dan is het toch lastig om daar antwoord op te geven. En dat is ook een radicaal idee. Maar hij zegt, het is tijd voor unprecedented ways with unprecedented sense of urgency. Ik vind dat een boeiend gesprek. Verder heeft hij natuurlijk heel, volgens mij, valide punten als het gaat over het helpen niet afbrokkelen van de democratie aan de overkant van de oceaan. En ben ik benieuwd wat hij de volgende keer bij Joe Rogan zal zeggen. Hij eindigde, voor wie zat te luisteren maar niet keek, met een grote glimlach op zijn gezicht. Volgens mij had hij een even leuk en uitdagend half uur als dat ik had. Ik hoop dat jullie het wat vonden. Als je nou denkt, ik ben wel benieuwd wat meneer Sanders geschreven heeft. Tegen de Oligarchie, uitgegeven door BOOS uitgevers in Nederland, ligt nu in het Nederlands in de winkel. Het is een boeiend boekje, kan ik zeggen. Kijk er vooral ook met de West-Europese ogen naar die je misschien hebt. Of elke andere ogen die je misschien hebt. Ik zou zeggen, heb je ideeën voor meer interviews? boos@bnnvara.nl. Heb je andere onderwerpen? boos@bnnvara.nl. Volgende week dinsdag zijn we er weer met een grote uitzending van ons programma Boos. Met een groot onderzoek. En volgende week donderdag zijn we er gewoon weer met een Radio Boos. Een podcast op alle platforms. Dit was de Radio Boos van deze week. Tot de volgende.